This week I'm going to tie a saltwater pattern by one of the most famous of all fly fishermen. That's, of course, Lefty Deceiver. He came up with this pattern back in the 60s, and the way he tied it is completely different than the way you see it today. Most flies that are in the fly bins that are tied by other people, they're really to catch fishermen. They will catch fish, but they really do catch fishermen. Lefty wasn't concerned about that. He wanted his flies to catch fish. That's all he cared about, and to do it quickly and do it fast. You know, when you look at it, the Lefty's Deceiver is a very simple fly. It's got hackle, it's got bucktail, it's got a little, some peacock curl on it, a little flash maybe, but it was very simple. And the funny thing is, this is a saltwater fly, but it works terrific in freshwater too. So you can tie these up. Very simple to do. Let's get to the vise and give it a shot. Well, one of the first things I do, I'm using a short shanked stainless steel hook. I'm actually going to debarb it, and there's several reasons for it, because I basically release almost 99% of my fish, and I want to get it out of them. But with saltwater flies, I definitely want to be able to get it out of me. That's very, very important. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thread. Now, I put my thread right where I want to end up. I don't want to crowd the eye. So I tie my thread on, wrap it back, and trim it. And I like to make it an open wrap spiral base. That gives something for the bucktail to grip on. It's a very simple fly, like I said. There's not much to it. All right. Now, one of the things is when you buy Lefty's Deceivers, they tend to be really nice and stacked nice and everything. But in reality, I watched Lefty tie, and he would just grab a bunch of hackle, just take it right off the string, 6 to 8 pieces, and he would wet it like this and just lash it on. He didn't do all this lining up and everything. He wasn't really concerned with that. So I'm measuring out. I basically want the tail to be the shank of the hook, and I'm going to tie it in right here. And when it dries, it really it pops. It just flares out. Now, he would use tinsel, but tinsel has its, it works great, but he had metal tinsel back then. This fly is from the 60s. And then they started using mylar tinsel, which is definitely a lot better. But I tell you, I like this Bill's body braid. I like to wrap it on, tie it on, bring my thread forward, leave in space, and then I would wrap this stuff. Why I like it is it's easy to apply, but also it just really has a nice look to it, and it hides a lot of mistakes. And it's pretty durable. There are a lot of flies you could tie with this Bill's body braid. And I'm going to wrap it right about here, and bring my thread back. And do a couple wraps to secure it. I'm going to take some white bucktail. There again, I'm not going to line it up. I'm just going to grab a bunch, not too big a bunch, and cut it. And I cut it right off the hide. You don't want to cut it halfway down, because then that tail becomes useless. And I want to clean out all the soft ones. And I'm going to line it up. I want it to go basically halfway down. And I'm going to do a couple loose wraps. And then I'm going to force it down right alongside the edges. So it's on both sides. And then reach in here, trim it off. Now I'm going to take yellow. Oh, before I do that, actually, what I'm going to do is take some crystal flash, right? And I'm going to just wrap it around. Now, he didn't have crystal flash back then, but I like to use a little bit just to give it a little flash to it. And take a little bit of bucktail. I'm going to use yellow today. Same thing. I'm just going to grab a small bunch, cut it off the hide, clean out all the fuzzies, and measure it. And tie it down. Not too hard yet. Reapply it. It's a little too long. There you go. That's it. Reach in there. And I'm going to take some, about, I don't know, 6 or so peacock curl. Measure it. And tie it down. And then build up a nice head. Take my whip finishing tool. And reach in there and just trim it. Now, when this dries, this will flare right up. It will be really, really good. This is, like I said, this is Lefty's Deceiver. Right, he didn't put eyes on his. In fact, his were very, very simple. It's really not much to it, and it catches a lot of fish. So, until next week, tight lines.